And welcome to the Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin Michaels and featuring Frankie Mish of Sleepwaker. What is up, my man?
Hey, not too much. Busy day today, but
I feel that, man. Busy. I stay busy. It feels like I ain't do shit ever, but I stay busy.
yeah, yeah. I definitely feel like it's been piling up lately too, but I think that's just because quarantine's letting up a little bit and people are starting to get back to things, and it's just everyone's excited and
Hell,
moving a lot.
you got a whole album coming up. I'm sure you're busy as
Oh
hell.
yeah,
Man.
yeah. I'm the graphic designer for the band too, so I've just got all the graphics coming in and flying through real fast. Yeah.
Dude, I got mad respect for that. I do my own graphics for the podcast because obviously, as a podcaster, you do everything.
Yeah.
And I made that poster right there, and that took me like 2 hours, and it
Yeah.
just like some basic Photoshop shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely takes a
Uh,
while, but
So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Frankie and who is Sleepwaker?
yeah, so I'm the drummer for the band. I also kind of write a lot of the stuff and work with the guys. Hunter and I, our vocalist, work on all the lyrics and placement and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm kind of the man behind the concepts and some of the art. Um, But, it's a pretty collaborative effort overall, so we definitely get some of the guys involved, and, Sleepwaker is a 5-piece from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Uh, we've been around since 2015, and we've definitely been having a lot of fun putting all this new music and getting all this content ready for everybody, and yeah, we're just writing metalcore.
Dude, I love it. Usually now this isn't usually the kind of music that I listen to. It's enough to where like when I heard it, I was like, "Oh hell yeah, I can get down to this." But I wouldn't have necessarily found it on my own.
Mm,
Actually, what had happened was I was about to get in a fight with this guy, right? And I was like, "Yo, Alexa, play some fat beats to beat this guy's ass to." Next thing you know, Sleepwaker's playing.
yeah.
I'm
Well, I'm glad
kidding,
Alexa's got that pre-plugged in, like, right there.
but I was listening to it earlier today, and I often think to myself, I wonder what people are doing when they're listening to this band. And
Yeah.
like all I could think about is like somebody's beating somebody's ass listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think, uh, people are just, moshing or going crazy, but obviously that's not the case lately, so it's definitely interesting to think about. Like, I kinda wanna just get, like, people coming back, like, sending videos of what they're doing or, like, leaving comments of, like, "Yeah, petting my cat, listening to 110 minutes," like
I'll be the first one, man. Earlier today, like when I was thinking about that, I was just aggressively doing dishes.
Yeah, yeah. Just going through, cleaning dishes real hard. Yeah.
But I like what I'm hearing, man. And I was
Thank you.
just giving the album my second listen through, and
Mm.
usually it hits differently the second time. So
Yeah,
I like to
definitely.
save that for right before the show.
Mhm.
And because honestly, also, whenever you're dealing with these like metalcore bands, the lyrics are hard to understand the first time around. It's, no matter how much metal you listen to, every singer, it's like a different dialect of the
Yeah,
same language.
yeah. Yeah, I like to think it's like another rhythm section. Like, it's gotta be catchy, it's gotta be interesting, it's gotta fit in with everything else, but it's its own rhythm section, and I think that's why I I like metal so much is because it's just like I'm the drummer. I like rhythms and stuff like that. So interesting patterns, interesting stuff like that. Stuff that fits well with the music, catchy. But yeah.
Yeah, drummers always have, an interesting perspective that you don't often get to hear from because, like, I've got a buddy, he's one of my best friends and he's a drummer, and I can rarely get him on the show because he'll drum his heart out all day long until
Mhm.
he's sweating bullets, drenched, and on a stage in front of people. But the second you get him behind a mic,
Yeah, it just
shut
shuts down.
But
Yeah.
surprisingly enough, lately, I've been finding more and more drummers other than him that want to talk and that aren't just the background to the band.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think a lot of drummers have kind of been like coming forward and doing more in the band, especially with metal, because there's definitely a highlight to the drums. I think when it comes to metal music, um, I think in some genres and subgenres and stuff like that, you get people specifically listening for the drums. Like there's like the heavy, crazy, fast deathcore stuff, and then you've got like Periphery, Matt Halpern. You get people just getting highlights and like animals as leaders, that kind of stuff. They definitely have drummers that really, really come to the forefront. And I think because of that, a lot of people have been like kind of realizing that you don't have to just be the guy in the background. Like you can do more in the band, and you have an interesting perspective because you generally have uh I mean, this is obviously a generalization, but you usually have some more interesting rhythms to bring forth when you're writing or like different things like that. So I think it's definitely pretty cool to see drummers coming forward.
And on top of that, to quote a old Rainn Wilson movie, the rocker got the
Oh
best
yeah.
seat in the house right between the bassist and the guitarist.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, right between there. Just enough to hear the bass and or feel the bass and hear the guitar.
But so, like speaking of the I'm sorry, somebody is calling me, and that never happened. Oh, it's the drummer guy that I was just about to mention.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, "Where is this ringing coming from?" I silenced my phone. I never have my Facebook open up in my browser.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Am I going truly insane right now?" But speaking of him, it's what I was about to say anyways. Like I'll send him some music and I'll be like, dude, listen to this. Like I deal with a lot of mental health stuff.
Mhm.
And so I'll send out the music that I listen to my friends to help them understand how I'm feeling on a given day.
Mhm.
And I'll send them something and be like, hell yeah, man, that was sweet. Or man, that sucks. I'm like, dude, you're listening to the drums again, aren't you?
Yeah,
Listen to
yeah.
the lyrics for a second.
Yeah, yeah. I used to when I was younger, I used to like focus on the instrumental and I wasn't really listening too much to the lyrics, but as I've gotten older, I've started to take like vocal lessons and I've started to be like a little bit more forward with vocals and obviously in the band it's um on the records and stuff. Hunter and I are doing a lot of the vocals. Mostly Hunter, but I add like some of the backing stuff here and there. Uh and as I've kind of gotten older and matured, I've definitely found myself focusing more on lyric content and like because that can make or break a song. Like if you've got really bad like AB rhyme schemes and you've got like weird lyrics that are just like okay, you added too much to this or like you listen to too much Genesis or too much Rush. It's like okay, you might be getting a little too crazy there. Uh, but yeah, there's definitely some like some level of appreciation now, especially.
It's like, it's just dang it, I forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck
No,
it.
no worries.
Happens all the time, but
Mhm.
it's weird running a podcast and forgetting what you're saying, man. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But Either way, moving on. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. I was going to talk about like you see more and more drummers coming out of their shell. Not only is like I was saying earlier, but you're not the only drummer that I've talked to recently that
Mm.
has started working on their vocals. And one guy I even talked to, the lead or the front man of a band called Enox, he was the drummer and
Okay, and
then
then switched.
and switched over to being the singer, and he didn't even think he could sing, and they're like, "Dude, you can sing. Suck it up, do it. We'll get
Yeah.
another."
Yeah, it sounds like, Code Orange did that, the band Code Orange. They recently their drummer just took over. He used to be the vocalist and the drummer, and eventually he just stepped out from behind the kit and let someone else handle it.
That's one thing I don't get is I don't get how you like it's one thing like doing them both separately, like in a recording studio,
Yeah, yeah.
but I don't understand people that can do both at the
It's
same time, like on a stage.
it's like, I mean, there can be times where it's, like, taxing to do, like, one rhythm one way and everything, but, like, uh, I think it's kinda just like adding another, rhythm to your stuff, like, I mean, it's not it's not too challenging. I picked it up pretty fast, I think, but also I've been playing drums for a while, so I mean, it just feels kinda normal. Like, I feel like at this point now, if you can hold a conversation and keep up a beat, then you can probably do some, like, screaming or something. Singing is definitely harder, a lot harder, but, screaming and stuff like that's not too
You
difficult,
see, I
and
can't keep a beat and do anything else at the same time at all.
Yeah.
People see a guitar that I have laying around and they're like, "Oh, you play guitar?" I'm like, I kind of
Yeah.
can't do anything else while I'm doing that. I can't even keep a beat while I'm doing that, but I can kind of play it." Like, what I meant about singing along with, drumming is, like, how the fuck do you find time to breathe? Like, you're
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you're I see drummers, especially in, like, metalcore stuff, going ham. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
get how you can, like, do that and breathe and sing and all of that at the same time, but if you can do it, all the better to you, man.
Yeah, I think it's just like it becomes it's like when you're playing a guitar and singing, some people say like they just kind of tune everything out. They don't really think about it and they just go for
Mhm.
it. Um I think when you're playing drums and everything, you usually just end up finding like a rhythm and you just kind of like go with it and it just becomes like second nature. It's like muscle memory, which
Right.
you kind of build up muscle memory as you're going and you're learning drums and everything. And then uh as you start adding in things like you're you could be working on something with your right hand and making sure you get a cool beat with your right hand and then follow a basic beat with your left. And then eventually you expand your left one and then you just start playing the muscle memory on your right. And then eventually you start building up to that and more and more. Um and
I
then,
guess
like, breathing just kinda comes second nature with it. Like, if you learn how to breathe correctly and how to support your vocals and everything like that, I think that's kinda how you just eventually it's yeah, muscle memory. It takes a while for sure, but
I guess the closest thing I can relate to is I do or did kind of acting. I,
okay, yeah.
used to doing a lot of acting, and I can be in a character delivering lines, and I
Mhm.
can still be thinking, "What am I doing for dinner tonight? What am I" like,
Yep,
while I'm in
exactly.
character, like, I got, little conversations going on in my head, like, I can
Uh-huh.
still it's multitasking. It's
Yeah, yeah.
when you're good at something,
Mhm.
it's for me, I can't imagine doing your stuff while keeping all of this together, but that's like I said, I can't keep a beat for anything.
Yeah, it's once you do it enough, it just kinda, like, falls into place kinda deal. Like, what you were saying, I was just having this conversation with the band, how, like, we'll be playing a show or something, and what I'm thinking about when we're playing is every once in a while, like, "I wonder where we're gonna go to eat after this," like, "We're in Seattle," like, "There's a cool restaurant down this way, like, we could stop over there," like, that kinda stuff. Like, I'm usually not if I think too hard about what I'm playing, then I kinda, like, psych myself out and lose it, or, like,
Mhm.
I'll get in the zone and I just need to forget about it. Like I just find the pocket, stay in there. That's kind of Yeah, what it's like, I think.
Right. So let's talk about the music for a minute. We've talked a lot about, behind the scenes of it and playing it, but what about okay, I've read a couple of your press releases, I've seen a couple of your music videos, and I frankly still don't know what the hell's going on. I like it, but I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
what's going on.
We're kind of I'd like to kind of classify this as a uh building up album. Like we're transitioning to something. It'll eventually get there, and I'm really excited for what comes out of it. We're kind of just like right now we're kind of building up the band and building up the style and building up everything that we want people to see and perceive us as. And then eventually we'll kind of make it all come to a head, and I'm excited to show what we have planned and the ideas we've got coming. And it's I was talking to someone else about this, about how it's all just one big art piece. Like I think a lot of bands focus on uh okay, let's make this album really good and let's plan this album, and then we'll plan everything else around this. Like what visuals go with the album, what visuals go with this. I think it's there are a lot of bands now recently doing this, but it's what is the band? What's the story? What's the interesting thing? What sets you apart? And in this band we have a lot of creative people, and uh having so much control over the like graphics, and our videographer is our guitarist. We also work with another videographer that's very close to our group. I live with our producer. We have like a pretty tight knit group and people that are very passionate about making sure that this band succeeds and is perceived in a certain way, and like our vision is brought to life. So I think creating yourself as more of a specialized media outlet around what you want your band to be, rather than what fits your album, like your album for the year. I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. And what we're planning on doing is going to kind of span the last two albums that we've this album coming out, Alias, and Don't Look at the Moon, our last release. So it's going to kind of connect all of these together into one big story.
Ooh, I love me a good story.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very excited.
So speaking of story, I also saw a lot of kind of different inspirations that you guys have taken.
Hmm.
And one of them that really stuck out to me was Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, oh, I love Cowboy Bebop.
So you're a big anime guy, right?
I'm more of like
Or is it just that one?
no, no, no. I watch a ton of anime. I actually just finished watching Psycho Pass the other week. And I used to, when I was younger, I watched a ton of One Piece, and over quarantine I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch as many One Piece as I can take. And I like while I'm working and stuff and have it on in the background. So I wasn't, completely focused, but it's kind of a slow show, so you don't have to be too focused on it. Unless
It's
there's certain parts.
actually the other day I live with my cousins, and his
Mhm.
little 3-year-old was trying to say something that he wanted to watch on the TV. And you know how like little kids are, you
Yeah.
don't really know what they're saying. And we looked at each other and like, did he just say One Piece?
Yeah.
And, his dad was like, yeah, no, we're not starting you on One Piece this young. And I was like, but if we do, he might be caught up by the time he's 18.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I made it like around I made it through. I caught up pretty much. Uh but like going through when I was a younger kid watching like the first, I think it's the first 3 seasons they catch up to. And obviously it's abridged and it's very cut, and they take out a bunch of different episodes that are uh not kid friendly. But yeah, I definitely really liked that anime when I was younger and wanted to kind of like relive the nostalgia. And what's a better time than when you're stuck at home and sitting there doing almost nothing. So yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure. But I've also Full Metal Alchemist and uh um what's the one? Ghost in the Shell. That's a huge one for the album. It's Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, I saw that, and my immediate thought was, I want to cover the music more, but it's not often I get another nerd on the show. When
Yeah.
we started as a nerd-based podcast. If you can't tell, I'm a bit of a nerd,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so
Yeah, I like the Empire thing in the back.
oh yeah, but and got a little mustache on Yoda. I don't know why, but I did.
Yeah.
Um, but there's or the live action movie. What did you think of that?
I actually haven't seen it. I've only
Really?
seen the I've only seen the 1990 version.
Um,
I've been talking to my tattoo artist about the newest one, and I definitely want to watch it, but yeah, it's kind of on the back burner, I guess, right now.
I hear don't watch it if you like the original stuff, but
Yeah.
do watch it if you like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll still have to check it out. I kind of want to just compare. I definitely like going through movies and kind of comparing back and forth here and there and seeing like even if I don't like it, like I can kind of sit through movies like that, I think, and just
I'll,
you know,
yeah,
it's entertaining more so than like good or bad, I guess.
I'll tell you the best, like because it's so weird with movie adaptations. It's totally a hit or a miss.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'll tell you the best movie adaptation that I've seen from a book to a movie,
Mhm.
Odd Thomas, if you've
Odd
ever
Thomas.
heard of it.
I don't think I've
It's
seen that one.
it's a Dean Koontz book, and I swear, uh, whenever they were doing the movie, they just threw the scripts out the window, grabbed a book, and said, "We're going to do it this way."
Yeah.
But I had to get that off my chest. But I will circle back one more thing. Who is the nerdiest member of the band?
Probably me. I would say either me or our bassist Aaron. We both love anime. He builds Gundams and stuff like that, and
Hell yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we're pretty we're like, oh nice. Yeah, there you go. I have somewhere I have a couple. I've mostly got Star Wars toys. Like I've got this old, like it's actually my dad's old Star Wars case from when the first one came out.
Oh,
Uh
nice.
And I've got some of the very old, like, let me see if I can grab one real fast. Like the real old Darth Vader, C3PO, like stormtrooper stuff, like that
Wow.
kind of guy. But I'm definitely more of a closeted nerd when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like um so we've got our song or one of our songs on the album, I won't say which one. Um it's actually about Star Wars, and it's very like I like to hide that kind of stuff because like if you say you wrote a song about Star Wars, sometimes people are like, eh, like it's kind of weird. Like it might be kind of like it might turn some people away. Um,
Right.
but like I mean, we've got songs about like Blade Runner and songs about Star Wars, and one is about specifically about Ghost in the Shell, like very much so. One is about the Matrix and some of the themes in there. One is about the show Firefly, like very similar to Firefly. I love that show. Yeah, yeah. So, but it's all kind of hidden. It's all in the back. It's all references that like you get if you're a fan of the show or like you're looking for them. But it's not something that's like in your face. It's something that you can listen to and appreciate for its own, and you don't have to be like it's not gatekeepy. You don't have to be
Right.
a huge fan of this to enjoy the song on its own. Which is kind of what I was going back to about being a media place. Like you can enjoy our music and you can listen to, I mean, I hope, and you can like our music and listen to it. And also like, like you don't have to be in on the way that our music videos connect, and you don't have to be in on the way that like our art is inspired by this thing or whatever. Um, it's kind of one of those things that's just, you know, uh, 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 um, an extra. It's an Easter egg for you if you want to delve into it, and you can make your own inferences and stuff like that. Like if you find something and you're like, oh, this means this to me. Like I'm never going to say that wasn't intentional because or that was or wasn't intentional because I like people to kind of have that own meaning. Like when you're reading a book and you picture a character a certain way and you're like, "Oh, this is what this character looks like." And then like you said, they make the live adaptation and it's like this completely ruined my perception of the character. This completely changed my perception. I don't necessarily think that's bad because sometimes it's nice to see what the author like wanted you to see or what they perceived and stuff, and it's nice to see the comparisons. But at the same time, when someone finds a meaning in a book or something, and the author's like, "Oh, it was actually supposed to be this. Like, this is what you should really think." I think that is what kind of ruins it. So,
Right.
so yeah,
It's
I'm
like
I'm I'm a huge fan of that stuff.
the big thing about music is being interpreted however the person that needs to listen to it and feels that way feels,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
especially when it's songs that they connect with. Like, you know, there's plenty of songs that I listen to that mean one thing to me that I know isn't what the writer originally intended. But if
hmm
that's what gets me through the day, at the end of the
Yeah,
day, listen to that song, that's what gets me through the day.
yeah, and there are people that like attach meaning to songs that like I mean, I have a friend that doesn't like listening to Blink 182 because it reminds her of like a bad time in her life. And I have a friend that doesn't like listening to Catfish and the Bottlemen because someone they knew that they like had a falling out with used to love them and they listened to it like that band with them a lot. And like yeah, I think being able to connect with people in that way is huge in music. And so being able to write stuff that can be interpreted in those ways is important to me, I think. I mean, there are some songs that we have that are literal and you want people to get
Right.
a certain feeling and obviously we have concepts and we like to be very methodical with like how we're presenting them, but I think it's important to be kind of open in some of your lyrics and songs.
And like, like you were saying, I had one of my favorite bands on one time, and
Mhm.
he started talking about, or it was a band called In Her Own Words, and they
Mm,
started talking about one of their favorite songs, and he asked me, "What do you think about that?"
mhm.
I was like, "Honestly, dude, I love it, but I can't listen to it. I had an ex that that was our song."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Like, dang,
definitely
I don't like making songs people connect to.
yeah. I think there are, like I honestly don't know if there are many songs that I, like, can't listen to because of that. Um, I'm trying to think of any specifically. There are songs that, like, make me, pretty like sad or like some that I'm like, "Oh, this is definitely like I was going through something when I was listening to it," but I can like feel like sometimes I can kind of disassociate those things and kind of take it in at face value. But it's nice to see that there are people out there that can really connect and really dig into songs in that way. And I think that's like me not connecting to songs as much in that way is kind of why I want to do that more is to like give people that connection.
And it's kind of a blessing, because like I just now recently am able to listen to Paramore and wake up like 7 years ago.
Oh, you cut off a little bit. What was that? What band was it?
Sorry. Paramore.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
I had a girl that was super into Paramore like 7 years ago, and I just now was like, you know what? Let's give them a listen. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I forgot I really got down to these guys in middle school before she wrecked my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think, so one of our, like, kinda going back to the concepts we were talking about with, like, anime and things like that, I'd say probably the biggest inspiration for the concept of the album, um, was, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? If you've ever written or read that al or wow, that book.
I have
Um
not read it. I am familiar with what it is, though.
Yeah, it's the book that inspired Blade Runner. That I'm actually rereading it right now. I read it a long time ago when I was younger, and then I watched the Blade Runner movie, and it kind of like the newer one that came out, 2049. And then from that, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole of reading or rewatching the old Blade Runner, and then 2049 again, and then going back and like starting to read the book. But right now, I'm going back again and reading the book, and I think that when I was reading it when we were doing the album, that's really what made me want to convince the guys to make the whole album about identity and who you are and what it means to be human and stuff like that. Because if you remember the test that they give, I don't remember the specific name. There's the baseline test in 2049, and then there's the Fieldman test, or I don't remember exactly the name, but um, that was a huge, like, cool concept, I thought, especially in the book when he gives it to the daughter of the corporation, um, and in the movie when they do the same thing, and it's like he can't he couldn't really tell if she was human or not, and it's like they're so similar to humans that it's like what makes you human, what makes you alive, what makes you a person versus not. Uh, and that's kind of like the whole concept of the album. I think the reason I connected it so much with Ghost in the Shell too is because that's kind of the same concept. Like the original movie is very much like the voice that she or what's the inspector's name? Man, I'm blanking on a lot of things right now, but
You got
uh
people screaming at their screens.
yeah, yeah. I'm horrible with names and uh uh man, that's one thing that I can't remember. But anyway, the main character, Scarlett Johansson's character, uh she she kind of struggles with like what am I? Am I human? Because like I can do these things and I'm having these independent thoughts, but like I'm not considered alive and I'm considered an android and that kind of stuff. And those two kind of connected for me. The Do Androids Dream and Do Androids Dream and Ghost in the Shell. So yeah.
But and it's weird, like, well, I think a lot about that kind of stuff too. Like, are we in a simulation? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just that kind of crazy shit. Like, I used to listen to a lot of Joe Rogan before I started
Oh,
my
okay.
own podcast, and I just specifically remember a episode with Elon Musk where he's like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're in a simulation."
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. I think I'm not so much like connected into that uh world or like really delving into that kind of stuff, but I really like the I guess thought experiments that you get from it and like the concepts and ideas and themes from it. Um that I just think that's really interesting storytelling and story writing, and that's kind of like what I want to like when I want to bring things into uh content I create, I want it to be something that I feel like is it interesting to me or like I feel passionate about. Not necessarily that I like, believe it or whatever, but
And it's not
just
worth diving into anyways, because
yeah.
let's say we are in a simulation.
You're
What does that
yeah.
do? What does
Yeah,
that do
exactly.
at the end of the day?
Exactly. That's why I think it's so interesting because you can kind of pose those questions and go like, all right, how do you interpret it? Like you just said, like what does that do? Like what does it do for us? Like does it change how you're going to live your life? Does it change how you're going to do things? Like cuz at that point we still know that we feel pain and we still know that we like things cost money and we still know that like there's no real change in how you should or how you like perceive life and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's a very interesting question and interesting concept to explore. But yeah, delving too far into it can just
It's
make you
almost
go
like
crazy.
the old child thought experiment where you think, are my colors the same colors that you see? Is my green
Yeah.
green to you? Is it blue?
As a graphic designer, that's huge. I love telling people that and like yeah, going through the whole color theory and color blindness and stuff like that.
It's actually, my cousin is colorblind, and
Mm.
he story that nobody wants to know. He's got to uh, do an uh, like he's got to do a cleanse for a doctor's appointment, and he
Mm.
can't have certain food dyes today.
Okay,
And
okay,
so
yeah.
he's been coming to me every couple of minutes. Hey, is this orange or red? I can have orange, but I can't have red.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting, predicament.
Like I had to tell him he's over 30 years old, and I was the first person to ever tell him Yoda was green.
Yeah. He just
He
saw,
thought
like, a
he was
shade.
just the same color as his clothes he was wearing. It's
Oh,
all
yeah.
color to him.
Yeah.
So he's like, I
Wow.
thought he was just kind of a beige alien. I'm like, nah, he's green. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought he was just normal alien color, beige. I'm like, normal alien color is green.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that you've got this band that sounds the way it does, and you've got all these concepts, all these incredibly nerdy concepts, no offense.
No,
Like
no, absolutely.
you don't see that much in metal besides I forget the name of the style, but
Like prog gent kinda stuff or, like
yeah,
okay,
or
yeah,
like games
proggy.
where it's like all like one concept, and they're
Oh,
coming
yeah,
up with
yeah.
stuff like aliens and shit like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah,
Like
I don't know if you know the band Sleep Token, but they have a, very, very cool, interesting sound, and they have a whole story that goes along with their band, and it's very interesting. I really like it a lot, but
one nerd to another. You ever play Magic the Gathering?
no, I chose the band life as my vice, so I didn't have enough money to get into it, but my roommate is super, super into Magic. He has friends over every Friday or so, and they play. My other roommate, not our producer, but
Yeah, there's like a power metal band
mm,
that I discovered a couple or months ago that's just Magic the Gathering themed.
okay, yeah. Yeah, that's really
I'll
cool.
let you know that afterwards, but because we're talking about Sleepwaker right now.
Yeah.
But dude, just like those bands when metal crosses over with nerdiness, that is where I'm most happy.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of bands out there that kind of have that nerdy. I've met a lot of bands on tour and stuff that have like Yu-Gi-Oh inspired stuff or like things like that. Um, but I don't meet many people that like let it kind of sneak into little things that don't necessarily like I think the thing I like about some of these concept bands that really go into it is that they kind of separate, like I was saying, with there's a band called, I think it's maybe Within the Ruins, maybe, where they have a Halo song. I could be wrong. But yeah, the whole thing is like Halo concept based. Or no, wait, man, my friend Eric was telling me about it. There's a band that has a whole album that's like conceptualized around Halo and stuff like that. And I think it's really cool. And it's not obvious. Like some of the stuff is. I think there's like a song called Arbiter or whatever, um but yeah,
It's
like
like
bands that do things like that and like have little things within or was yeah, I think it was Within the Ruins. They did X-Men albums. They have like one that's about all the X-Men and one that's all about like Magneto and the villains. It's like the heroes and the villains or something.
yeah, after you were talking about all the inspirations that are going into this album Alias, it made me think like I'm as soon as we get done with this call, I'm starting that album up again, listening
Yeah.
to it, trying to figure out what's what.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of them you might have to look up the lyrics, but definitely
You don't have to wait.
yeah, I mean we have some of them are on Genius right now. But
Ooh.
yeah, but some people found like little leaks of it, I think. But
That's the
yeah.
one thing that I hate the most about, or like, I love working with these PR companies and getting to talk to these bands and
Mhm.
occasionally getting a little bit of music early. But I hate, like, I want to read the lyrics.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think some bands you can. kind of infer from that stuff, but the lyrics have a ton of Easter eggs in them. Like if you know the stuff, like there's one song you might be able to figure it out. It's because it's not necessarily a reference from this movie, but uh it's a reference to a book that they reference in the movie. But there's one song that's pretty much entirely about the Matrix, and yeah, there's a line in there that's like if you catch it, you're like, okay, 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 I get that now.
Yeah, I'll
So yeah,
definitely be re-listening and figure trying to figure it out. That's going to be the game I play the rest of the day.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
And but I did have another question about the album. First, I want to say my favorite track has to be the title track, Alias.
Alias, that's awesome. Yeah, there's actually a Ghost in the Shell sample in there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. If you listen through, it's the Puppet Master, one of
Oh,
his like his speech.
but that one, like, I love it. But
Mhm,
back to what I was saying, is there any songs that you play as Alias? I mean, not as Alias, as Sleepwaker.
mhm.
Sorry, that
No, you're good. You're good.
make that push your limits as a musician playing it live.
Um, I mean, so Alias, you've heard it. There's that like little drum part in the beginning that's very fast and kind of that's actually like a modified paradiddle diddle kind of thing. And that one's pretty like it's muscle memory now, like we were saying. I've kind of got it down, but it's pretty difficult to it was pretty difficult to learn. Um and our song 110 minutes, there's that little off time beat at the end where it kind of like the drums go off time and then they go half time after. That part is pretty difficult to keep up and go along with. And I do a small like extra vocal line live in there, so I'm doing vocals and doing that, or doing a vocal and doing that, and like remembering that it's coming in. So that's pretty difficult. I think there's our song synthetic has some stuff that or synthetic veins has some stuff in it that's like I'm like kind of pushing myself on, just because it's fast, but otherwise, yeah, it's definitely challenging at first, and then afterwards, it's a little easier. Oh, wait, Serenity has some stuff in it that's very difficult, I think, but
It's like I ask it because you always want to be pushing yourself,
yeah,
and
oh,
I just
absolutely, yeah,
like or I like knowing when I'm listening to something like what is that, when I can get the behind the scenes, like
mhm.
what is it that they were like, I can do this better or
Oh, okay,
or
okay.
I can do this.
Yeah, yeah. When I was listening back through the song Serenity before it was out, um, there were parts in the drums where I was like, "This just needs to be more exciting. Like, this just needs to be, like, more interesting." So, yeah, throwing that stuff in there, and, that was definitely pushing myself for that song.
Well, we are almost out of time, so I've got to ask you a couple questions. First off,
Mhm.
I will ask any burning desires, any messages to the fans, anything that you want to talk about.
Uh, I mean, Burning Desires, pre-order the album, listen to the
Well,
new singles.
we'll get to the
Yeah.
plug.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, I think please read, uh, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and House of Leaves. 2 incredibly good books that everyone should at least try reading. House of Leaves is very difficult, but it's a very, very cool, interesting book, and play the game Control. Those are 3 things that people should start doing because all 3 of those are huge for Sleepwaker. I definitely love referencing those.
All right. And speaking of games, I had one last thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
if y'all ever play Final Fantasy 14, somebody hit me up. I need some friends. I just started playing it last month. It is
Okay, okay.
confusing me.
Yeah. I kinda fell off of Final Fantasy after, 9, but I played that one a lot.
Like 14 is the MMO
Oh, okay, okay.
online one, and
Mhm.
I have just my life is falling apart now. Thank you. But, back to it. Got any merch, any websites you need to plug, any way that we can support you during these times where we're not necessarily seeing live shows?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to our link in our Instagram bio, I believe it's the link on our Facebook too. Um, unfd.link to.
It'll also be in the description of the YouTube video for here.
Yeah, so go down to the description, and our 2400 store is where you can buy merch, pre-orders, anything you need. That helps us a ton. Like that's honestly the biggest thing right now. Um, Pre-orders and all the merch on the website, and going to Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon, wherever you listen to music, and pre-saving it, or just giving us a follow or a listen. That's huge.
All right. Y'all heard it here. And as always, stay saucy, everybody. This has been the Confound Millennial, starring Steven Stirvin Michaels and featuring Frankie Mish of Sleep Radio.